Okay, here we go. It is Professional Speakers Day. It is National Professional Speakers Day. I am Speakers Magazine publisher, and that is
Mr. Brian Oles, Dr. Brian Oles, whatever you prefer, depending on the day of the week. What's going on, guys? Super excited to be here and
yeah.
excited for another Professional Speakers Day. Pam, thank you so much for bringing together this ensemble cast of professional speakers from across the Black diaspora. I'm super excited about today's conversation.
Cool. We're just saying hello to our folks out here in BSN land.
BSN
Speakers
in the building.
Magazine. Yes. Hello, hello. Hey, Judy. Hey, everybody. So, we're just kind of getting started here. We got all the crew here. Hey, there you go. And you get surprised because Dr. Josiah Jackson was the first one here. Okay. So I'm like, you are on
Very
top
impressive.
of it.
Very impressive.
So, Brian, I want to say something, though, that we have been in this partnership thing for about 6 years, at least 6 years. And one of the things is that I really, really enjoy our partnership and what we're trying to do for the speakers community. We have people out here that are just phenomenal. And one of the things they need is resources, relationships, and the right type of, the right type of mentorship. And really just we cheer each other on, and they're professional speakers. Of course, everybody talks, but like a professional speaker has a little bit of a different kind of pizzazz to them, and they make a living from their words, from their mouth. And so you had the vision to do BSNY. What was the premise of BSN?
Yeah, so first of all, yes, we've enjoyed an incredible partnership. Pam, I always tell you that famous story of when I pulled over, literally driving home from work, had just started Black Speakers Network, and kind of getting things going. And I remember pulling over into a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot and having this 2-hour conversation with you. And, the rest, as they say, is history. The Speakers Magazine cover from September of 2020 still sits in my office to this day. And it is one of my it's one of the partnerships, and being on the cover of Speakers Magazine is one of my proudest moments as an entrepreneur.
And that was like a double issue too, let me tell you. It was like
we know, Pam, it was so expensive to print. She tells us all the time that thing was expensive. But yeah, incredible opportunity because the spirit, and first of all, for those that have not met yet, I know we have folks here from across the Speakers Magazine, Black Speakers Network, Speak Black Woman, and several other incredible speaker communities. So if we haven't met yet, again, my name is Brian Oles, president and founder of Black Speakers Network. Our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. And Speakers Magazine, has been incredible, what we call platform partner over the years, to provide us the opportunity to provide visibility and additional channel to support our speakers and connecting to the audience that they are called to serve. And nobody does it better than Pam. And one of the things I love about this partnership is that not only provides a print publication application for many of our speakers, but Pam and her team has just done an incredible job on the digital marketing side as well. So when you show up in this magazine, you not only show up in a print issue, but you also show up online forever. And so that helps with things like search engine optimization. And I'm so excited today that on Professional Speakers Day, we're going to be talking specifically about how to get booked and paid in today's climate, because as you know, Pam, Professional Speaking Day is all about honoring individuals who are essentially making a living being a person or public, or what we've been at that level called professional speaker. And it's easier said than done. So definitely some things I would like to share, and I'm looking forward to hearing from our speakers as we get ready for today's events. But Black Speakers Network essentially came about because I really wanted to find a community that was dedicated and passionate about getting to the next stage as professional speakers. And you know what they say, if you can't find it, then it's your job to go build it.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the things too, I wanted you to let people know about today being Professional Speakers Day and how you have a PSD offer, Professional Speakers Day offer. And so I'm gonna put that up there so that people can understand that the BSN, the annual membership, is 50% off. I'll put this slide up there again, but it's 50% off, expires tonight at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in California, you ain't getting no extra time. It's EST, okay? That's what we're saying. And basically, one of the things that you scan the code, and then you'll get 50% off the annual fee. So I wanted to thank Brian for that as well, as he put that in there so that people can know that they can do that. You can also, if you didn't get the code, just say, hey, I want to join today. It's 50% off. Brother man, sister girl said I can have 50% off. So you could always send an email, you could track us down or DM us or whatever you need to do. But it is 50% off today. So I want to say that. And then before we kind of get started, we have with us Quinn Conyers, who I just love, and Dr. Norma Hollis as well. Oh my God, just love her. She is the GOAT. We had another guest that was to be here as our moderator, but we just only have this because he's traveling the world, internationally speaking, coming back from, I guess, South Africa. And
he's on his way.
He's on his way, and he got too many planes going on, whatever. Rodney, okay, we hear you. So Rodney C. Burris will not be here, but we want to give him a shout out. He had good intentions, but he don't own the plane yet. So when you own the plane, I guess you can call the shots. But right now, he will not be with us. But I do have someone that I wanted to share, Ryan. I want to share Cheryl's clip, if I could, and Delatoro's, his thing. So I don't know which one I should do first.
Ladies first, I guess.
Ladies first. I'm gonna do Delatorro because Delatorro.
Well, you are the lady, so you get to choose.
Yes. Okay. So Cheryl, Dr. Willie Jolley, and Delatorro, they have special messages for you guys. So I'm going to play Dr. Del's, and he's going to tell you he is another Hall of Famer speaker as well. He is just amazing. So we're going to bring our guest back right after this.
Empowered greetings, friend. Dr. Delatorro McNeal II, Hall of Fame keynote speaker, Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling author, peak performance expert. I've given over 4,500 paid documented presentations all over planet Earth, and I'm one of 9 living Black Hall of Fame speakers on planet Earth. So I'm excited, I'm pumped, I'm grateful to be here. And I just wanted to share on this Professional Speakers Day, this day of training and learning and development about this incredible industry that I've loved and enjoyed. I've been in the industry as of 2024. I've been in the industry 23 years, and I've been full-time for 21 years, and I'm 47 years young. So I'm really excited about the longevity that we've had in this industry. And I think I can share a couple things with you that's going to help you get booked in this climate that we're experiencing. So a couple things that's really important. First and foremost, make sure that you are really clear about your primary core offer. Like what problem do you solve with your presentation, right? Before you even get to the actual presentation itself, what problem do you solve for your client? You got to make sure you get really clear about the problem that your presentation solves, right? So if you want to get booked today, remember, clients are hiring people to solve problems for their events, solve problems for their conference, butts and seats, right? They want speakers who really can deliver results, outcomes, objectives, right? Clear outcomes for their audience. So it's vitally important that you get really clear about what your message is and the value that it brings, the return on investment for the client for having you come in. So that's one. Number two, once you're clear about that and you're out there marketing and promoting, it's really important that you show diversity. Show yourself in front of multiple audiences, different types of audiences. Get testimonials from different types of peoples, race, color, ethnic, socioeconomic, fill in the blank, right? Get different types of testimonials. When you're editing together your video, your reel, make sure you pick great points, showing the audience, showing you, showing the impact that you make. Really important. And make sure that you're marketing your video out to as many people as possible. And one of the things that I love to do that keeps me booked and busy is my actual results, right? So I love to help speakers understand that The most booked and busy speakers on the planet are on RRSB, Repeat Referral Spinoff Business. I'm going to say that again. Repeat Referral Spinoff Business. So here's what the people that are kicking butt and taking names do. They don't cold call. They don't necessarily do a lot of, Facebook ads to try to get speaking engagements. They ain't got to do that. RRSB, Repeat Referral Spinoff Business, means 1 gig turns into 4 gigs. Those 4 gigs turn into 9 gigs. Those 9 gigs turn into 16 gigs. Those 16 engagements turn into 32 engagements. Does that make sense? And it's a massive swell simply by understanding repeat referral spinoff business. So ask the client, can you invite me back? That's repeat business. Referral business is someone at that event that heard you might work for a different company, a different association, a different nonprofit, a different ministry, right? So now they heard you at one event in one light, in one talk, but they represent another organization. So they can refer you to another opportunity. Does that make sense? So that's repeat business, is asking the client, bring me back next year, next month, next quarter, right? The next day, whatever, based upon your industry and what you sell. Number 2, ask for referrals, which means, hey, can you refer me to another opportunity as a direct recommendation from what you just experienced with me? Repeat referral spinoff. Spinoff business is when you say, okay, cool, this opportunity spun off into something else. So that keynote spun off into training. That training spun off into a longer term contract, right? So a repeat referral spin-off business means you take that one talk and you spin other opportunities from it. Now that we did the long keynote, can we break it up into 10 minutes every Monday and give you guys a motivational Monday, right? Blah, blah, blah. Repeat referral spin-off, spin it off into other offerings. Business, new opportunities, new contracts, new products, new services. So the best speakers on the planet, those that are kicking butt and taking names in this climate, make sure that they crush it at each speaking engagement, and then they parlay that one engagement into 2 and 3 other opportunities. And then those 2 and 3 other opportunities, they parlay those into 10 opportunities. So they let their work get them more work. Speeches get you more speeches. Doors open more doors. Stages get you more stages. Does that make sense? So that's the strategy that I'd highly recommend in this market, in this time, to keep you blessed, on purpose, doing what you love and getting paid for it. If there's any way that I can serve you greater, please visit crushthestage.com. That's crushthestage.com to learn more about how Dr. Delatorro can help you take your presentation game to the next level. Blessings to you.
That's what I'm talking about, Dr. Del. Oh!
Always brings the heat.
Oh my God. He says good speaking begets more speaking. That's what I'm talking about. So with that those are tips, those are gems. But we have with us Quinn Conyers, who just gave us some really good news where she's going to be speaking. I don't know if I should spill the tea. You should never tell publicists anything you don't really want to be spread anywhere, because the first thing we're going to do is tell somebody. But anyway, and Dr. Norma Hollis. So I'm going to bring you up. There you go. Oh, there you go. Hey, welcome. So Quinn Conyers and Dr. Norma, love. I just love you guys. So I want you all to, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, but I also want to just tell a little bit about how I know each one of you. I know Quinn from Brian from BSN. She is the beast. I've seen her in action. She's a master on the mic. She started out doing purse paparazzi. I can't even say that fast one or two times, but has really parlayed her gift of speaking into a mini empire, I guess you would say. She's really doing the thing. I love Quinn. She's been in Speakers Magazine, but one of the things I like about Quinn is that she's relentless in terms of her mission, and she goes for it. She makes a pivot. She goes forward. She's rebranding. She's making the right connections. I'll get to see her in Michigan if you want to talk a little bit about that. But one of the main things I like about Quinn is she's serious about what she knows that she wants to do. And so with that's Quinn. And then Dr. Norma. I've known Dr. Norma always in her signature color of orange for many years. I would say at least a couple of decades. And she's the GOAT. And when I really started doing PR marketing in this space, helping with authors and speakers, she was one of the few women in the space. It was always a lot of men, but not a lot of women doing professional speaking. And so she's a mentor to many. She's a mentor to Quinn as well, but she's someone that we always looked up to, graceful, always talking about authenticity. She's just a gem. And I got a chance to hear her in person in Detroit, and she just captivates the stage. I mean, what Del Toro says, good speaking begets more speaking. She never really has to market. She just has to open her mouth and just really do the thing that she does. And people refer her all the time, Dr. Norma Hollis. So with that, I'm going to let Quinn introduce herself, and then Dr. Norma. And then Brian, I don't want to hold you hostage. So if you do feel like you want to leave, you can. I know it wasn't planned. I had it down that you would open. Uh, so you have permission to, if you want to join us at the end, if you want. Okay. So Quinn, I'm gonna let you go.
All right. Well, yes, thank you so much. And before, I make my introduction, I definitely say, Miss Hollis, it is absolutely just a pleasure to see you. For those of you who may not be familiar, I started my speaking journey as a college student. And the very first book that I bought was from Dr. Hollis. And I still have the book. And it was in 2006. So I have been at this journey. And people don't really understand that if you see somebody's breakthrough, there's probably a been through. So
Mm.
people see what's happening now, but I have been a student of speaking for many, many years. And I definitely remember meeting Miss Hollis and buying her book in a parking lot, and then meeting with her again when she was a judge for Kevin Bracey's Speak Up and Speak Off competition that I won even back then. So there's a long history there. So it's almost surreal to kind of be interviewed and have this conversation with what I call a living legend, like, Dr. Norma. So if y'all know who she is, y'all need to Google her because she's amazing. Had one of the very first Black speaking bureaus as well. I can go on and on and on. So she's definitely a pioneer and ahead of her time. But for those of you who do not know me, my name is Quinn Conyers, and I transform average events into epic experiences as a compelling keynote speaker and an energetic MC. So if you want your next event, meeting, or conference to be mind blowing and not boring, you and I should have a conversation.
There you go. There you go. We got Eric. We got Eric talking about come through Quinn, come through Quinn. That's it. That's it. He is always so. Dr. Norma.
Thank you, Pam, and thank all of you for your wonderful comments. And Quinn, I remember you so well. You came from DC to my first presentation that I did in LA, and then you came back later to visit me, and we visited for a while. I had no idea you were spying so much and getting prepared for so much, but I knew how great you were from the beginning. So I'm really, really proud of you and all that you're doing. And that's just to say to all of you who are listening, you all can do the same thing. It's just, you just got to be committed. Quinn came with a commitment. She knew what she was doing, and she stayed on that process, and you're doing great. At your age, you're at a great place forward, and you're going to go far. And I know that. So I started in speaking in 1996. That's when I opened my speaker bureau, Speakers Etc. I was the first Black woman to own a bureau for Black speakers. I didn't know that at the time. I just was following my inner voice and doing what I was supposed to do. And that's what it came up with. And then I opened an online directory, the first online directory of Black Speakers Online. And I ran those for 14 years. And it's interesting that I owned the bureau. I didn't run the bureau. I had staff that ran it. At the time, I did not understand that a bureau was a marketing experience. And I'm not really a marketer. I write programs, and I speak, and I train, and I teach. But I hired people who did that. And in 2010, with the recession, and my number one person got the diabetic issues, and my other one, her father got sick. So it was time to end it and go on to something else. So all the time that I was doing that, I was doing some speaking. I've never considered myself a true professional speaker because I don't do it full time. What I do full time is write programs. I'm a pioneer in 3 different industries, and I wrote programs for all of them. I wrote one for speaking in terms of my rapid speaking success program. And you see behind me my authenticity grid, which is what I spent 30 years developing. And now, as of May the 1st, I have a new company who I'm partnering with, and they are running the marketing and managing my entire authenticity program. And that has really consumed me, because the challenge with speakers and speaking is that speakers, we are so creative. You can hear just by how Delatorro and Quinn speaks and Pam, their words are just rolled out of their mouth, and they're all rhythmical, and they're very exciting. And that's the creative part of us, finding good sound bites and doing all those things. But you don't really make it work until you get the business part in there. And every speaker I know that's been successful has had a business, a marketing partner, or some kind of partner that did those left brain things that our right brains can't really quite comprehend. So that's kind of where I am. I'm just at the point that I'm really deciding I'm going to be a full-time professional speaker, but it's a whole different industry now, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a little while. Because when I had my bureau, we had to mail out all the letters. There was no internet. There was, you had to print everything and get it out. It was much more expensive, much more time-consuming. And you guys have it a lot easier now. So I'm delighted to be here. Thanks, Pam, for inviting me.
Oh, good. Yes. Oh, the industry has changed. Being a literary publicist, the fact that I had to like mail out those ARCs, advanced reader copies, slinging them up at the post office. Oh my God, they just don't know how easy they have it now, right? Right.
They don't even understand. And it's so much more. It's so much cost. It's the expenses is not as much because we had to spend so much. You had to pay for the printing, pay for the stamps. It was crazy.
Well, I just want to push back on that a little bit, only because we don't have as many trips to the post office, Dr. Hollis, but I have actually made all the mistakes trying to set up Facebook ads, and I've left them on too long when I thought they were closed. So I feel like we just inherited a different type of heart. But one of the things I love just listening to your introduction is that oftentimes we just kind of come into these industries and we just assume things are the way they are, and that's how they happen. And we realize that there are people, often unspoken heroes like yourself, who have put in foundation, in order for there to be a Black Speakers Network, Black focused speaker bureaus like the ones that you owned and operated for over a decade, were incredibly critical, especially before the internet era. And so I just really thank you for all the work that you've done to shape this industry. I think it's funny that you don't particularly self-identify, or historically have not self-identified, as a true professional speaker, even though you have served literally thousands of speakers over the course of your career.
Yeah, that is amazing. That you didn't see yourself as a professional speaker.
Well, as a full-time professional speaker.
Full-time.
So,
okay.
Full-time. I'm going full-time now. I did it. Sure, I have a bureau and they book me and I do things, but I haven't spent my energies on being a speaker. I spent my energies on this. This is my God work, my first God work that I had to do. So now that's done, I passed it on. I don't have to be the CEO anymore and figure out how to make $1. I have someone else to do that. I can go do what my passion is and go speak, and I'm delighted. And now I know how to do it too. It makes a difference.
That is good. And you're hailing from Los Angeles?
I'm in LA now, Inglewood, actually, yes.
Yeah, in Inglewood.
But I'm, of course, as you know, a Detroit native. You know that, Pam.
Yes,
You're from Detroit.
Yeah. And so we've got Baltimore. Someone is asking a real quick question here about, I think it was Dr. Eric, did you host events at Downtown Cultural Arts Center? So someone wants to know a little bit about the Downtown Cultural Arts Center. I guess that was in Baltimore. Is that in Baltimore, you guys?
That's in Baltimore. Yeah. Dr. Hollis, have you done any
no
events in Baltimore?
I'm waiting for you to invite me.
There we go.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure.
So really, this whole thing, Professional Speakers Day, Quinn, I want them to know a little bit about your journey. I don't think anybody just like goes to college for 4 years and then rolls up out of bed one day and say, "Hey, I want to be a professional speaker." When did it start for you, and how did you evolve, and where is it evolving next? Because I know that you said you did some rebranding just recently as well.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And, I think for me, it did start in college. I remember like it was yesterday. I was in undergrad and we all got our syllabus, and it was the, intro to public speaking class that was on it. And, if you're just starting out, you don't really have an option of what you're choosing quite yet. And everybody started freaking out like, oh my gosh, public speaking. I was the only one like, give me the microphone. What's the problem? So not only did I take intro to public speaking, I took advanced public speaking. I took argument and debate. I took every single speaking class that was offered. So I ended up majoring in speech communications. So much so that when I was in those classes, I quickly learned that when I talked, people listened. I realized early on that I had a command of a crowd that I thought was very normal. And one of my favorite quotes is from TD Jakes, and he says, "Your genius is in your normal." And
Mm.
it wasn't obvious, but the more I talked, the more people were just like mesmerized. At first I thought I did something wrong, and then I realized I just had a natural gift of captivating crowds. But when it clicked for me and became a business aspiration was when I actually graduated from my undergrad, and I went to Howard University to get my master's in Washington, D.C. And I was studying mass communication media studies because I felt like the only job that I could do was something in news reporting that would make sense. But I quickly realized that I didn't have the personality, or I had too much personality for that role. But when I was at Howard University, a couple things happened. Number one, I started using my student card. So different conferences that I couldn't afford, I was like, can I come volunteer? Like, I was such a sponge. Like, can I volunteer? What do you need? And they were just giving me student passes. And then I remember even being at Howard University, and Willie Jolley was one of the speakers. And I just almost lost my mind. I'm like, oh, this is what I need to be doing with my life. But the question that changed everything for me was, people were asking me, what are you doing? Or what would you like to do? I'm like, I want to be a professional speaker. And someone said, well, how much do you charge? I was like, hold
Mm.
on, you can get paid for this? And that's when I realized that my talent alone would not be sufficient. And I struggled for years being just talent. I didn't understand the business side. So that was my quest. My knowledge really kind of enhanced. So everything from Les Brown to James Malinchak to buying Dr. Norma Hollis's book, I became a sponge. Every conference that I could go to, literally, I was there soaking up the information. So a lot of the people that I have the pleasure of learning and meeting now, I was a student of theirs from afar, and where I am now. So I definitely have went through a couple different evolutions. You know, at one point I was showing Black women how to amplify and elevate their voices. I did have a bag business called Purse Paparazzi, which did me very well. An interesting part is every time I would sell those purses, people would say, "What else do you do? You do more than just sell purses, girl." And that was the gift trying to come out. So right now, where my energy and my effort is, I have really created my own lane. And I have been doing more emceeing and hosting, which has really, really been fun. So I would say, with your gift of gab as a speaker, be open to the diversity of language and how you can use it. So some people might be called to be keynote speakers, some people might be called to be trainers, others facilitators. I happen to know that I can really transform events into really great experiences as an MC. So that is where I'm putting my efforts. Literally, I have my director of operations about to hit publish for my brand new website that really kind of emphasizes and prioritizes the MC role, because I want to retire introverted Ian. And introverted Ian is the person who was at a job who's been voluntold that he has to MC and he's not really good at it. So my job is to make sure that organizations and associations understand that the MC role is something that should be outsourced, just like they do for a keynote speaker, because there's too many people that are really affecting the attendee experience by having a event that doesn't take into consideration the attendee experience. But more importantly, when I'm keynoting, I have a great message around that. But emceeing, I'm just a lover of language. And my ultimate goal is to change the world with my words and leave a legacy with my language. So if that's as a keynote speaker, that's okay. And if that's as an MC, that's okay as well. So I don't limit myself to what speaking box I should be put in. I allow myself to be a vehicle and a vessel to change lives. And that's how I look at the speaking role.
That is good. That is good. You know, one of the things that Quinn said, and this is Professional Speakers Day, is that professionals study, they learn, they're sponges. I heard some of the names that you said about James Malinchak and, you know, is studying under Dr. Norma and Willie Jolley. I mean, so there's materials out there, and it's not just having the gift of gab, but she is obviously it's a gift, but she's really putting time in developing and nurturing and studying that with that gift and learning different ways to use a gift. I mean, so keynote speaking is one. And I would say being a publicist, people love being the keynote speaker. They get treated like a celebrity. You're like the rock star. It's a superstar. They pick you up in the black car and they give you water in the green room and maybe some snacks. And I mean, you know, Those are the things that people think about when they are the speaker, because it's like I get treated like the rock star. But the thing of it is, there's so many other opportunities for speakers that have the gift of their words. And so, Dr. Norma, talk about some of the other things, because you ran a speakers bureau for many years. What are some of the other things, if people are not asking for keynotes all the time, what are some of the other opportunities that speakers can do in order to make a living with their words?
Okay, before I do that, I just want to make a comment about Quinn. And I want everyone to pay attention when she speaks about how articulate she is. And that's probably what's getting her across. Her words come across very crisp. She enunciates the letters. And one thing that I'm an old school, and I get really bothers me with young people, they don't say the word important. They say important. But when you pronounce your, they say written. So you have to pronounce your syllables so people can hear it, and so you sound professional. So notice when you listen to Quinn speak how professional she sounds, and I'm sure that's part of what's getting her so much success in her work. So just wanted to mention that. So yes, I started my bureau because Spirit said do it, so I did it. Without really knowing what I was doing, I went from being director of a Head Start program and getting grants to being a business and entrepreneur, thinking that would be an easy switch, and because I could run a company or run a business, run a nonprofit. But it's totally different, as I mentioned, because you have to have, if you don't eat, if you don't do the work right. So with that in mind, I also recognized early that I did not want to chase dollars, because that's what you have to do in a lot. In a bureau, you're chasing dollars. You're dialing for dollars all the time. And that's why I do have some bureaus that represent me, but I have not, when I say I haven't been a full-time professional, I haven't done my own outreach to do for speaking. If it comes to me, fine, but I wasn't doing the outreach for it, and it's a different thing. But what I have learned in the process, so I'm also speaking to those of you who write programs or who have done something outside of speaking that makes your work a little bit unusual, a little bit on the outside, on the outskirts. And that's where you really create your originality. So most of the money that I've made over the years has been from this program that I developed, because I teach speakers and coaches my whole authenticity program, and I certify them to teach it. I certify coaches to give it to their individual clients, and I certify speakers to teach, to share it on stage and get commission when you can get companies to sign in to bring our entire program to the company, because we have a multiple layers of what we're doing in our program. And that's taken a lot of years to create and to put together, and I've learned a lot of ways. So when I coach speakers, I have a whole system called my rapid speaking system. That's what I developed when I was working. I'm taking these glasses off because they won't stay. So what the heck? I can't see you clearly, but I can at least So what I've done is create a program so that I can have other people. Now I don't teach it at all, because I've taught enough people to teach my system so I can gain income from what I've taught them. So as I coach speakers and others that work, coaches and others, I help them understand what other things they can do to add. You have to have back of the room sales. It's not enough just to get your speaking fee. And there's so many options of what you can do with back of the room sales, and what you can do with a call to action when you do an online program, or when you're doing a live event. So for example, telesummits, teleseminars. We have one program that we offer now in our program that is every Tuesday, a community gathering, where we talk about our authenticity, and we learn from others about how they use their authenticity, how they make day-to-day decisions based on my authenticity grid. So that if you have a program like that, or you can create a program like that, I have another program that's an 11-week program where I go deeper, or I don't, but my people do. They go deeper into you and help you bring out your authenticity. Michael went on the call. He's the Authenticity You. Michael has been in my courses, and he's been with me for many years too in Detroit, and learned and stayed around. So all of these, there's a lot of ways you can take what you've done. With my grid, I can take each of the individual boxes, and I have books on those. And I've turned the whole thing into an online school. So you can do one class, in my case, I have a whole online school called Authenticity U, where all the work that I've done behind me in my grid is now classes that others teach, and I get paid. I get paid a consulting fee. I get paid a licensing fee for 99 years. And I get paid a dividends because I have part of the company. But it took a lot of years to put that together. So there's all kinds of ways, if you're creative and you listen to your inner voice and you do the right business background, and then you allow, I'm a firm believer of allowing spirit to come to you. when you make that connection, a lot of my training with people is to connect with your intuition and connect with your inner voice and connect with the energy that's guiding you on the planet if you're listening to that. Because if you listen to that and you follow it, it will lead you to where it is you're supposed to be. Then you don't have to worry about, are you doing the right thing or moving the right way? Now, one of the things that I've done when I've done my authenticity before May, when I made the transition, was all my presentations were pretty much about the grid. So they were more instructional. I was explaining the grid. I have an assessment that goes with it. And I was doing all of that and teaching that. And I started out doing this with speakers because I still had my speaker bureau. And what I found is that speakers, authentic speakers, when I had my bureau, I learned that the most effective speakers were authentic speakers. The ones that get on stage and doesn't care if you make a mistake because you're so good and you know your stuff. It doesn't, if you make a mistake, you just keep on rolling with it. Or you said, I made a mistake. And you just keep on going, however you handle it, but you're authentic about it. I think you can look at authenticity by looking at our new vice president and presidential candidate and how authentic she is. And if you look at her new vice presidential candidate, that's authentic. Look at the contrast. You can, authenticity brings joy. Authenticity brings honesty. It brings a freedom of flowing. What most people tell me to take my program is that they feel more free. It brings the freedom out. And what I've learned, I now have a mentor or a coach who's helping me get my topic together. She did it in an instant. She told me, your topic is you are the leading intelligence speaker. And I'd never really considered that. Then I thought back how many times I talk about intelligence. I talk about it in my legacy dimension with Dr. Howard Gardner's work with multiple intelligence. I talk about multi-dimensional intelligence. I talk about artificial intelligence, authentic intelligence. I can go on and on and on. I couldn't see that myself, though, because I was too wrapped up in it. And I was calling everything authenticity or intelligence. But I realized that the more authentic you are, the more intelligent you are. The same words I was using with authenticity are the same words I'll find in intelligence, problem solving, self-awareness, all of those things. So that my message to you on that is whatever your message is, look at what other messages evolve from that and how what else you can call it. Because authenticity is such a misunderstood word and a nebulous word in a sense, because it's not tangible and it means different things to different people. So it's a harder sell. So I had to find a word that corporate would understand better, and intelligence is that word. So I'm still working that, and I'm already getting some traction on that. So you have to look at all of that. So everything you do is potentially something you can use. I have poems. I have a particular poem I wrote when I was 28 that I have kept. I memorized it. I know it. I use it as an intro to many of my presentations. I will also do a short poem before a presentation because I write poetry, or at least I did when in my 20s. So whatever you're doing now, save it, because you never know, 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50 years later, it may still be valuable. Sometime, you mentioned earlier, Pam, that I'm ahead of my time, and I realized that as I was growing up. So all the things, and many of you are ahead of your time, speakers are. So whatever you're doing, you're probably ahead of your time. So it's going to have great value in the future.
I love that. I love that. One of the things, Dr. House, I just love that. One of the things I want to do is you said, just be creative. So with that was kind of like a cue. And then I'm going to come back to Quinn, but I want to play Dr. Cheryl Wood. She ends with something that just resonates with what you just said. But she talks about how, and I remember Dr. Cheryl Wood when she first started and she was selling t-shirts. And I think her first speaking gig, Brian, was at school, was at Morgan State University. They brought her in to speak. And that was like one of her first speaking gigs. And she was so excited about it. But it was like someone had taken a fish and put them in water. And she felt such relief. She was a paralegal when she, in her career for many, many years, very unhappy. And she says, I got to get out of this rat race. And she started selling t-shirts. But kind of like with Quinn, she said every time she would speak, she could command a stage or command an audience. So I'm gonna bring up Cheryl and then we'll come back to Quinn.
This is Dr. Cheryl Wood, international keynote speaker, 2-time TEDx speaker, and founder of Global Speakers University. And I'm so excited to be here to share with you some simple steps that you can implement as a new, emerging, aspiring, or even seasoned speaker who wants to get booked and paid more to share your voice, your expert knowledge, and your message. All right, so let's jump in. Here we go. Strategy number 1. Consistently network in spaces with decision makers. So sometimes as speakers, we're only networking with other speakers. And that's great for sharing best practices and resources and even building camaraderie. But if you really want to increase your revenue and your profitability, you've got to be getting paid more. And that means you need to be in the spaces with people who have the authority and the budget to hire you to come and speak for their company, association, corporation, even maybe a federal government agency. You need to be in the mix and in the space with people who have the decision-making power. And showing up is just step one. After you show up in those spaces, you've got to do step number 2, which is to speak up and share what you know and who you are and how you can help them. And number 3, you've got to follow up. So after you make the connection, do not leave it to the person to contact you. You contact them and follow up and be pleasantly persistent so that they know who you are and you start to build the know, like, and trust factor. And now you're on their radar as a potential future speaker. Okay, strategy number 2, pay attention to social media posts. Most of us are on social media for a certain portion of our day every day. So when you're paying attention to people who are posting events that are being hosted, don't just hone in on who the keynote speaker is. Instead, hone in on who the host or organizer is. That's the person that you want to reach out to and connect with. And you want to offer your expert advice to come in and be a part of that event. And you can always negotiate your pay since you are the person who is approaching them. Maybe they've already allocated their budget and they don't have a budget to bring you in for this year. So you can negotiate what that looks like, either for them to pay you an honorarium or for them to allow you a space to be able to sell from the stage to generate your speaker fee, or simply to build a relationship with them and perhaps be considered as one of their speakers for the next year, because most people who host events are hosting them annually. So pay attention with a keen eye and look at those graphics that you see and those flyers of people hosting events in a different way, not just to be excited and put the heart button there, but to pay attention to the person that's hosting and organizing and to connect and build a relationship with them. Number 3 strategy is make sure that you are consistently posting snippets of you speaking. People need to get an idea of what your delivery style is, your energy style, and the fact that you have things like vocal modulation and what your cadence is, as well as all these other elements, your body language of being an impactful speaker that they will want to bring into their organization. And they need some proof. And the proof is going to be those 1 to 2 minute snippets of you delivering a message that you post to your social media accounts and or to your YouTube channel. Now, if you're saying, well, Dr. Cheryl, I don't have any speaking engagement, so I don't have any snippets, that's okay. Put on your professional attire, put your phone on a tripod somewhere in your home against a blank wall, and share your expert advice for 1 to 2 minutes. Do that at least once a week and post that to social media and your YouTube channels, and even send that out when you are submitting requests for proposals so that, again, they can get an idea of what your delivery style is and whether or not you're a good fit for their event that they're going to be hosting. And last but not least, my 4th strategy I got to throw in there is when you do get the opportunity to speak and you are brought in, whether it's you waiving your fee or you accepting an honorarium, don't forget that all monetization doesn't happen on the front end. Sometimes it happens on the back end. So even if you get an opportunity that's not able to pay you your full speaker's fee yet, you go in and you give them the wow factor. Like, go in and make sure that you are unforgettable on that stage, that you are engaging with the audience, and that you're personable and vulnerable, because that's what's going to want to make other people who are in that room, who perhaps are also hosting events, hire you and bring you in for their event. Not to mention, this is also an opportunity for you to get footage that we talked about earlier, and for you to get paying customers from that particular event, even if the company or the organization did not pay you the check. So there are a ton of ways that you can still generate your fee. Just be creative.
Just be creative. That's what she's saying. She's saying just be creative. Cheryl has been a cover girl 4 times. 4 times, and she always does it. The first time I think Playtime is over, and definitely it is. And now she's doing SpeakerCon, and that's where me and Brian won the SpeakerCon. It's 2019.
Yep,
Yes, it's up there. Yes, we won the SpeakerCon award. He won for best speaking organization, and I had won for where you get edge to the state. There you go. And I had won for best speaking publication. He won for best speaker organization. So that is, we love Dr. Cheryl, and she has been so gracious in terms of it. She even did our Speak, Sell, and Shine as well, doing that as well. So what she said, one of the things I want you all to hear what she said, and I talked with the speaker today. She says, I'm just not getting enough speaking things. I love this and that. I said, well, what stages do you want to be on? And she didn't know. So what she said is, when you see these flyers of these other events, they probably have events every year. So if you look at the event and say, dang, I wish I could speak there, but then you just heart it and keep it moving, put it in a journal somewhere, write it down. And then when that event is over, maybe not immediately after, but maybe a couple of months or so, and say, hey, do you have your speakers for next year? I'd like to submit mine. So all the conferences that you see their flyers of, either write them down, print them out, put them in a file, Google Drive, whatever, and then contact that host for that particular event. That's how you really get more speaking gigs. And when someone says, I want to speak more, but they don't know what stages they want to be on, I mean, other than saying, I want to do a TEDx, they don't even know where they want to speak. So don't let me get on the TEDx thing. But Quinn, how are you?
I'm good.
They think that doing the TEDx thing is the holy grail. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so much more to. Dr. Norma, have you done a TEDx?
I have not. I just did an application in yesterday to do one in Detroit.
Yeah, but I mean, you would definitely do it in Detroit, but it's not like the end all be all. I mean, people are just thinking like, once I do a TEDx, it's kind of like back in the day. It's like, I can just get on Oprah, my book will be a bestseller. Once I get on TEDx,
in the bureau, I can be speaking a lot.
Yeah, no, that's not that. Listen, we're trying to tell you all the truth. So that is not, I mean, Dr. Norma has been speaking for many years and she's not done a TEDx. So it's like, you just need to get out here and do the work. So, Quinn, what are your tips?
I would say if you are speaking, whether you are aspiring, emerging, or you're looking to scale, because I believe that we're all on different speaking platforms or just in our businesses. But one of the things that I believe that has been really idolized and put on a platform is the whole concept and notion of being booked and busy. And for me, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have 2 kids, a 7 and an 8-year-old. I don't want to be booked and busy. I want to be peaceful and paid. And the reason why I want to be peaceful and paid, because booked and busy can lead to burnout. I'm a member of several organizations that literally are uplifting, empowering, and educating speakers. And one of the things that I see from seasoned speakers is how much they regret how much they missed out because they were on trains, planes, and automobiles. I'm talking about speakers who miss birth of their children, birthday parties, and things like that, because one of the badges of honors was how many frequent flyer miles they had or how many hotels they could stay in. So I have been very conscious and deliberate about how I show up and serve. And it's not always about the quantity. It really is about, can I speak? Can I serve? Can I shine? But can I also get home? Right?
Yeah.
So it might look like, and I'm intentional with that. So I'm always capturing footage that I'm always speaking and moving. But in all honesty, I'm very mindful of what I am because I still got to pick up these kids from school. I still got to cook. I'm trying to stay married. I don't want to end in divorce. We're coming up on 11 years. So I just want to really challenge that whole notion of success looks like being booked and busy, because for me, my job, my goal, part of my assignment is to be peaceful and paid. I don't want to be running and missing and not present because I was so caught up in this career that I missed some of the best stages of my life, my kids' life, and also the union that I have with my husband. So I know that this industry is very much glamorized, and it is an amazing industry to be in, but it shouldn't cost us our sanity to speak.
That is good.
I just want to point out that my whole reason for being here is just to take notes from Quinn and Dr. Hollis. Like, I'm just like a sound bites. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna leave a legacy with my language. Absolutely.
Be
we are
peaceful and
doing
paid.
on this fine Speakers Day.
Yes, and all of these will be T-shirts. There's something that we need to have sold on BSN on the website. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I like what Dr. Norma said as well, so that we can be peaceful and paid, is she said you take your content, your instructional, she's instructional designer, I guess you would say, but you don't have to be instructional designer. You just have to perfect it and you license it and you treat it like a business. Speak a little bit about licensing and things like that, Dr. Norma, because you said something you said, and I can get paid on this 99 years later. I'm like, what? Wait,
99 years. I'm trying to get my grandson to understand that. So I won't be here that long. So you gotta understand what to do with this when it gets to you, you know?
If there's applications for additional grandchildren, just Quinn and I, we totally get it. Like all you gotta do is you want to sit on what meeting? We got it. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk later about the other side of that. All right, you're gonna take care of grandma.
Yeah, like I got excess capacity. I don't know about Quinn. She's I got capacity.
And certifying people is something that I think, as a African American Black speakers, we don't look at it in the lens that you do, Dr. Norma. And I think one, it has to do with wisdom, but also two, like you said, you're very, spirit led. And so taking something and certifying other speakers, or those are just ways to really to be peaceful and paid. Okay.
Right.
So do you teach speakers the business models that they need in order to, because they just want to jump on the stage, do a TEDx, and then just start getting booked and busy. So do you teach other speakers about the business models?
There's so much. Every time you think you've done the last thing to make it really work, there's 5 more things. And nobody told you what they are, unless you really have a coach that's helping and guiding you through that. So just to give you a little bit, first, copyright. Whatever you write, you want to copyright it. And let me just remind those of you that use Chat GPT and AI for writing your stuff, don't do that. Because when you do that, your copyright, you've lost your copyright. Unless you're using a company that you're paying for it. If you use the free ones, then everything that you're writing, if you get down to the lawyer and a law thing with it, you lose your rights to it. So you want to copyright everything that you do, and you don't want to use chat free AI for that. The next step then is trademark. Right. So what I did with this that I wrote that took me 30 years to create, I trademarked it. It's the Norma Hollis. The Norma Hollis authenticized process is the trademark. And so I have a license, an exclusive license I've given to someone that I worked with for a year, because the hardest problem I had was finding someone who could market, who had the right values. Because most marketers, they just want to bring in the money. That's all they really want to do, bring in the money. So I wanted the money to come in, but I did not want the spiritual side of what I've done to get lost. And as a matter of fact, I had someone offer me $3 million in December to incorporate with them and take a percentage of my company. But they had one caveat. They had a zip clause in there, which means zip. I cannot talk about my spirituality for 8 years. Now, in 8 years, I don't know where I'll be. I may not be here in 8 years. I don't have 8 years to worry about that. I want to do that now. So I said, no, keep your $3 million. I can't do that. But I just waited, because if God gives you something, he's not going to drop you before he's completed the process. Right. And so a few months later, the same person that worked for me and even brought the $3 million person to me, I said to her, well, if you're willing to invest, why don't we just start our own company and you run it and I'll do the marketing for it. So that, imagine I'm doing the marketing, I'm speaking to do the marketing for it. So now that's the way it's working. So you just have to follow. If you feel that you're God-led, which so many Black people are, allow God to lead you. And every time I tried to lead it, it wasn't working, and the money would go flat. But if I just said, just sit, whenever I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, I break a bone. And that's when I know, sit down and let God be the lead. It's not my time to try to make the decisions, just let it happen. So then the licensing is because I had trademarked it. And so I have allowed another company to use my trademark exclusively, because I vetted her enough to know that she first of all, I know she can make some money. She started and sold a $25 million business in 2016. So mine's a piece of cake for her. I've never done anything like that. Don't want to. I don't want to chase money. I want someone on my team that's going to chase the money. So I did not know that the license could be 99 years until we began to talk about it. And I said, that's a really good deal, because I have a 10% of anything that comes through their company is my licensing fee, whatever it may be. If it's using my grid and my intellectual property, this is an intellectual property attorney type conversation. So if you're writing your own stuff, you need to have an intellectual property attorney that you can go to and talk to. Cheap one, expensive one, doesn't matter, just get one that can help you decide what to do. So we have a contract written, and we've done all the right things. And all I got to do is get my family on board so that when I'm gone, they're still taking care of business, because it means that when I'm gone, somebody still has to make sure the company still exists. But the intellectual property is not licensed, is not me, it's to my company. So you want to keep your personal self out of it as much as you can. And I'm not an attorney, but this is what I've been told, because that way it goes on after you're gone. And then also it's going to go into my living trust. So that way it still continues. So I'm talking legal terms that I never thought I would know anything about 10 years ago, but you need to know these things if you're going to be in business. And especially if you find that it's growing. What I found is that what I did with authenticity grew beyond my ability to manage it. So when you get to that point, unless you want to continue to lose money, because then I was pouring money in and I didn't really know what I was doing, and it just didn't make sense. But the right person finally came along. But I just had to be patient and allow the system, the process to work as the process works. So it's about having a lot of trust and faith, and allowing things to occur and to happen in the time that it's supposed to happen, and getting your own self out of it, getting your ego out, getting your own some of your own desires or the fear that we have that I'm going to run out of money, or it's just not going to work, or what am I going to do next? Because no matter what I did, no matter how hard it got, and it got pretty hard and difficult sometimes, I never missed a car payment and never missed a mortgage payment. So you're always taken care of if you believe that and trust that and continue to follow what it is you're supposed to do, because people need your message. You know, the speaking industry is still very new. When I started my bureau, there were no other Black bureaus at the time. And we as Black people come to the planet with a kind of message that's different from others. And what we are attempting to do, without saying it directly, is to shift the energy on the planet. And as just like you saw it shift in the last 2 weeks, we as speakers we can see our audience shift as we talk to them. So our messages are really that important for us to get out. So if you have that message and it's coming from the inside of you particularly, and you know it can change lives, go for it. Just go for it, no matter what. Just go for it. The world needs your words.
So I'll hop in really quickly. That was a full-fledged masterclass in how you can earn income off of your intellectual property. So I need y'all to make sure that y'all was taking notes. And, just because you graduate from high school, college, or even get an advanced degree, it doesn't mean the learning process stops, especially as a speaker. There are so many things that are consistently happening that you need to stay sharp. She is back. I was about to transition. But Dr. Pam Perry is back in the building. I didn't know if you wanted to wrap up, or Brian, you wanted to say something before we I know we got a couple of minutes. I'm willing to stay a couple minutes over if we need to.
I had one quick question that came from Esther Dillard. She said, Dr. Hollis, thoughts regarding using paid AI to speed up the process, using it to create outlines and move the process faster to organize your writing. And that was what her question was regarding that.
Yes, I would definitely do that. Use the outline, because, AI works so fast, and it really is quite good at some of the things that it does. The ways that I use it is to do outlines. I did that from my last book that I was writing. And I will also take something I've written and give it to AI and say, how can you write this better? And then I will also say, here's some ideas. Can you give me a 500 words or something on this? So the different way, but I do that through the paid. Now I'd like to invite all of you to a call that's happening like right now at 5 o'clock that I just found out about. I have a mentor who's an AI specialist, and he's sharing, he said we can invite anybody we want tonight. So I'm gonna put the link wherever you tell me to put it. For those of you, he's gonna tell you how to write a book using AI as your muse.
What's the link?
I have to link, I'm gonna put it here. in this chat
Yes.
box that I can get to, and then let you do with it what you need to do with it once I find my mouse.
Okay.
You know, I've been having trouble with my computer all day today. I think that's what.
And one of the things that you just noticed that she just said is that even though she's the GOAT in speaking, she says my mentor is having an AI session. So she's always learning. I have mentors that are younger than me because they have certain areas of expertise that they just grew up with and they just know, right? So that is okay. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm gonna have to email that out. That's a whole Zoom link right there. So
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to drop that in the
yeah.
But it's tonight. It started already. It started now, and it's for 2 hours. So if anyone has time and wants to get on, then you're welcome to do that.
It's a Zoom, and the person is
Pam, I'll put it in the YouTube stream.
Okay, thank you. That will be good. That will be good.
And this is my mentor, who is a branding mentor, and he is phenomenal. He is, and I've met a lot of the speaker coaches along the way, and he is one of the best. He truly is.
Good. Well, I just thank you all for joining. Quinn, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for jumping in when I was coming in and out. Brian, you know, you are definitely my partner for life on doing this thing. You know, we had these crazy visions of what we said we wanted to do to help. Rodney, sorry you couldn't be with us. I know you're traveling back from the motherland, but we'll catch you next time. But this was Professional Speakers Day. And Dr. Norma, I just adore you and just really love the new way that you're going and really being the thing that you do best, full-time speaking. And when you come to Detroit or Baltimore, we're going to be there for you. So just let us know. We'll keep in touch with you. I wanted to say too, speakersmagazine.com. We have this Saturday, Brian, YB is going to be here. We're going to be doing our cover reveal Saturday with BSN as well. So make sure that you all join that. And thank you everybody who's joined us. You know, I David Walker, he was there. David's been ignoring my texts lately, so I don't know what that's about. I'm just calling you out.
Not the public call out. Lord,
oh yeah, you know this,
Pam.
Auntie Pam be throwing it in there, man. Brian Wilson, thank you so much. But I just want to say thank you all for joining. And I know Dr. Norma, you've got to get off right now, but I just thank you all so much for joining us today. It's important to have community and also to know how to get booked and paid and have what Quinn said. Say it, Quinn. Be
peaceful and paid.
Peaceful and paid. That's what I'm talking about. Marquis, there you go. He coming in here. All right, Marquis, how you doing? So yeah, thank you all so much for joining us today. And I will talk with you all later. There was something that I wanted to have Willie Jolley. I did promise Willie Jolley.
And can you throw up the QR code one last time for anybody? So because Black Speakers Network premium membership that expires tonight at midnight essentially for the East Coast. So if you are interested in coming on in and getting access to speaking opportunities, making sure that you're connected to an incredible community and also getting some additional tools and resources, we'd love to have you at Black Speakers Network.
There you go. It's right here. Can you hear me? There it is. All right, there you go. So it's there. It's 50% off the annual. It ends tonight. Take a screenshot of that so you can get the QR code. And that is what we're going to do right there. And then I'm going to end out with Willie Jolley because I promised to have Willie here. And with that, we'll end it out, and then we will see you all next time.
Hey, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. So I'm going to make the most of this minute, this moment, this opportunity I have to talk to you. I am Dr. Willie Jolley, host of the Willie Jolley Show on Sirius XM Radio and heard daily across America on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell with my Wake Up and Win with Dr. Willie Jolley segment. I'm also honored to be a member of the National Speakers Association, where I've been inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame and the most recent recipient of the highest award speaking, the Cavett Award. I am also blessed and grateful that Toastmasters International named me one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world, joining luminaries like Colin Powell, Margaret Thatcher, Nelson Mandela. I mean, I'm grateful. Only 50 people in history have been given that honor, and I'm honored to be one of them. So I am excited that you have made a decision that you're going to work on developing your speaking skills and your speaking enterprise. And you are taking time and making the investment to spend time with one of the greatest publicists on the planet, and a lady who is the publisher of Speaking Magazine. I'm honored to be on the front cover for the beginning of this year of Speaking Magazine. So that said, I want to give you a couple of thoughts. I was able to be with you, or we with the group last year live, but this year I'm traveling. And I'm speaking all over the country, and every day I'm going to a new city. But I wanted to take a moment to send this video to you and give you just a couple tips on how to grow your speaking business. I'm honored that I am the only person I know who has started with a few young speakers who came to me as neophytes. I want to be a speaker. I want to do what you do. And I mentored them. I worked with them, I developed them, and 3 are in the Speakers Hall of Fame as well as in the $1 Million Speaker Group. Delatorro McNeal, Simon Bailey, and Walter Bond. They came to me as neophytes. I didn't want to do what you do. How do I get into this business? And I gave them some advice that I'm going to give you. Number 1, I want you to, if you are not comfortable in front of a crowd, you listen to what Pam Perry shares with you, and then you augment that by taking a Toastmasters course. There are Toastmasters groups all over America and around the world, because they will help you with that skill set of getting in front of an audience and easing your discomfort. And then I want you to focus on what I've told speakers all over the world. Speak not to impress. Speak to inspire. What does that mean? Well, we all want people to like us when we get in front of them and they start and we start speaking, and we want them to clap and say, "Oh, I love it, I love you, I love you." But if that is your primary goal, there are going to be times when people in the audience show no acclivity to you, no interest in what you're saying, and it's going to mess you up. So don't speak to inspire, to impress them. Speak to inspire them. See, I've learned over the years that when I went from trying to make people like me to try and inspire them, everything changed. See, we all have butterflies before we get up and speak. All of us do. But when I changed from trying to get them to be impressed to be inspired, the butterflies, rather than flying like crazy, they flew in formation. And it was a change in my presentation and a change in the impact it had on the audience. I highly recommend you try this. It will change everything. I've had well-known speakers who've come up to me after they've heard that and said, my business changed when I started using your technique. Speak not to impress, speak to inspire. He said, I've had many of them. The latest one was a major speaker who was uncomfortable on the stage. He had written a best-selling book and he had speaking, but he wasn't getting great responses, but the book kept getting him invitations. But once he used that, it changed everything. Also, I encourage everybody to go to youcanspeaknow.com. I got some free resources, some more information. Youcanspeaknow.com. And if you decide there's a class that you can just take it as a low price class, just to teach you, is about 3 or 4 hours of me helping young speakers to grow their business. Start right now though with where you are with my friend Pam Perry, and then keep growing. And then when you're ready, join the National Speakers Association. That has had the greatest impact on my career as one organization, the National Speakers Association. Do all these things, Pam, my youcanspeaknow.com program, and the National Speakers Association, and I'll see you, as Zig Ziglar used to say, at the top. Have a great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. God bless you. Thank you, Pam. I love you and Mark. Give him my best. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. You Can Speak Now. He's got some things there. Dr. Willie Jolley kicked off the new year with Speakers Magazine. So thank you all for joining us today. Whew, Professional Speakers Day. Keep going out there doing that thing, y'all. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. All righty. Black Speakers Network. You can get it 50% off, and then you can speak now. And then, of course, see you Saturday, speakersmagazine.com for our cover reveal with Yolanda M. Smith. All righty. God bless you guys. Have a good night. Bye.